is going on, Governor? It's Chisgule here, and today we're guesting in Kingdom 1102 to showcase Alliance Battlegrounds. That's right, we're going to watch a full battle with Alliance Battlegrounds, and we're going to comment on the entire thing. If you like Alliance Battlegrounds and strategy, you should definitely like and subscribe, because that's something we're going to cover here, and we are sponsored by the creators of Rise of Civilizations. So what makes today's video, what makes today's Alliance Battlegrounds so interesting? What I am excited about is the ability to showcase more of the mid-tier of Battleground play and Battleground play on a younger kingdom. That's right, this is Kingdom 1102, and we were invited by the Alliance Lords of Northface to check out their Alliance Battleground, which is starting momentarily in about 32 seconds. So I'm really excited about this. In a younger kingdom, you'd expect to see um, smaller armies, fewer marches, and commanders that are less powered up. So here's a little bit of what their roster looks like, just to get some perspective on the power level of the players that will be in attendance. And this thing fires up in 8 seconds, and I think when that happens, we get to hit the watch button, which is pretty cool. So we're going to make our way through this, and something you might want to do, there we go. Hey, we're watching. Good old Ark of Osiris. All right. Lords of Northface porting into the battle. Now, I don't think we can see the enemy deployments. In fact, we cannot, although if you were really savvy, you could see them porting in, it looks like, by simply hovering over their area. Might be worth, honestly, having someone watch to count that kind of stuff out. I do think, by the way, that it is worth having someone who is not actually playing in the battle to be in voice chat with you and to be sharing, like, hey, like, here's the things that I see on the map, and here are the things that are happening in the battle. I think that would be totally worth doing. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 players out of a possible 30. But, you know, they've got 2 more minutes to get into this battle. They've got 2 more minutes to the battle. There's one more. Now, I can see down in the bottom right, we've got a little tutorial. Everybody is, I think, pretty familiar with the Ark of Osiris. I will argue that the Shrine of War is one of the most important buildings in the field of battle because it gives you a buff that is pretty powerful for combat. And of course, other places are going to score you a lot of points. The obelisk, crucial for transporting yourself around the map, and the caravans for basically free points. The caravans, I think, are really important, and I'll be really interested to see their strategy in gathering at these caravans. Let's see if we can see some of those. There we go. So you zoom out, they look like a camel, but you zoom out too far and you can't see them at all. So I don't see a way to filter for that. So you got to be somewhat zoomed in to see these caravan camps, and some of them have higher reserve levels than others, which makes a lot of sense. We've got 1 minute till this battle kicks off. One of the things that I'll be eager to see, and we can't check this yet, I'm tapping onto the prepare for area to see if I can click in. I want to get a really good look at the total number of players that are in on both sides, and honestly, I really do feel like 90% of the battle here is making sure that everybody shows up and that you've got a solid 30 people that can actually play at this desired time. You know, it's always worth getting a look, by the way, at some of the buildings that are available here. This building, the altars, they have a first occupation score of 750 and then an individual score of 75. And it looks like you get a continuous occupation score of 150 per minute and 75 individual score, or sorry, 15 individual score per minute, which is pretty good. That is pretty good. So being the first person to get to one of those buildings is really exceptional. Really exceptional. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We are off to the races. The battle has started. The gates have gone down, and I guess I can zoom in a little more to see the troop movements. Or lack of troop movements. Okay. 1 troop, 2 troops. There we go. We're getting started. Let's see what the opposing force is doing, can we? We can. They've got some blue lines headed out to the field. Okay. Okay. Now, how many players do they have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Did I count that right? I mean, I like the odds for our friends at the Lords of North Face. I did count that correctly. 18 in the Lords of North Face, 13 in the Wolf Pack Forever. Nice. So this should be a very one-sided battle if folks are at the wheel. I also don't know the power distribution between these two. I guess I maybe could have seen that. No, I couldn't see that in advance because I'm below City Hall 16. So I couldn't see what the power hall distribution is. But what I think they should be doing, and here we go. Here we go. Lords of North Face springing into action now. You really need to get both of the obelisks. I see they're headed for one, and I don't see. Yes, they are headed for the other as well. It looks like they sent a scout onto the field, which, I think scouting is a really crucial part of your strategy to the Alliance Battlegrounds. I would be heading to scout the enemy units that are out here. I don't think there's actually a gold cost associated with doing any of that scouting, so I think that's a good plan to be doing that. Now let's see, is blue team going to the obelisk? They are. And are they headed to the other obelisk as well? They are. So they're going to occupy both of those obelisks, and that, I think, is the opening strategy. I've got a card up in the top if you want to check out a prior video where I talk about what I think the perfect opening strategy would be. It involves getting these obelisks right away, along with all three of these outposts, which, if we get a look at these outposts, there's no protection time on these. So as soon as you get there, bada boom, you start ticking up points. The way to get to these things fast is with cavalry and use tier 1. Tier 1 cavalry with commanders that give a lot of march speed. Your perfect combination would be Mina Cao Cao to get there insanely fast. In the meantime, it looks like they are still marching their way over, and Chuck Spears is on his way. He's got a minute to go before he arrives at that obelisk. The other obelisk, we're looking at a solid 30 seconds. Wolfpack Forever has taken the first structure on the map, which is an outpost. Makes sense that they do that. It's on the way. I kind of wonder if our friends in Lords of North Face have someone going to these outposts. It is really important that they get there because you are going to get some points every single minute that you've occupied these structures. Seems like a really good stop on the way over to those outposts if you could make it. And it looks like they are headed just straight for the outposts. I think what I would do a little bit differently is I would have some number of players dedicated to getting to these outposts. Pada boom, Lords of North Face have captured their obelisks. They are the first one to an obelisk, and I will say, of all the structures to arrive at first, that really is the one. They're loading this thing up, and you can see this gives first occupation of 100 points, individual score of 10, and a continuous occupation of 20 per minute, and an individual score of 2 per minute. So now our friends over on the blue team have captured the other outpost. I like the way they're moving up the map, although they need to be doing it a whole heck of a lot faster. Our friends in Lords of North Face have captured the second obelisk, and now it's only a matter of time, in fact, less than 3 minutes time, before they should be teleporting up to this front line. It takes 180 seconds, 3 minutes, to finish capturing this structure. Now, the first time you capture one of these structures, you're going to get a solid 5 teleports, which is a really big deal. You got to use those wisely, and I'm told that if you put your troops into the obelisk, you can still teleport up to it. So, given that information, I wonder to what extent they should now be posturing at the Shrine of Life and also at the Desert Altar, and same is true for the opposite side of the map over here. I would expect that they should now be posturing forward, and something that I find sort of shocking, our friends at the Lords of North Face still have not captured their outposts, and the Blue Alliance, and I'm going to just pull up their name really quickly, Wolfpack Forever, have captured all 3 of those outposts. They're getting free points. There we go, Lords of North Face catching up now, getting the outpost, one of them anyways, close to their base. I'd love to see them spread across this map right now and have a very large footprint and start to posture forward on some of these other objectives. There's really no reason to sit in your obelisk after you've pinged it, after you've captured it. I suppose you might need to have one person in there for the duration of the 3 minutes in order to capture it, but I don't know that that's even true. Let's see if we can find out. Let's see if we can find out if that's true. The Alliance who occupies the obelisk for the first time will receive an additional 5 teleport chances. And when you occupy it another time, you get 2 teleport chances. While occupied, they produce 1 teleport for their occupying alliance every 300 seconds. So I don't have the information around whether or not you have to sit in the objective and have someone there continuously, or if you can move on and go to other places. It looks like blue team, the Wolfpack Forever, is starting to scout on the far side of the map, and that makes a ton of sense. That is certainly what I would be doing. And for advanced players, you're really looking for who's got the T5. In this case, they'd probably be looking for who's got the T4. Who's got the T4, and how do we make sure that we deal with them appropriately? Our friends in North Face have captured now the entire side of their map that is currently capturable. And, I just want to call attention to the fact that these objectives were not capturable until 5 minutes in, but the second the 5-minute timer hits, I'd really want to be at those objectives to capture them. Neither side is really capitalizing on that, although Wolfpack now making their way to the Sky Altar, which I think makes a ton of sense. Think that makes a ton of sense. They really should, as a priority, be headed to the Shrine of War, but there they are. They are headed there. And let's see who is here. The Lords of North Face really forward on their caravan here, and I actually love this strategy, farming the enemy's caravan and also being north of the Ark of Osiris. The only problem is that we're about to have some combat, and they've been scouted, so the enemy knows what they're up against. It looks like we've got Martel on their way in. And that's right, they're going to take this battle in the open field. We've got a Cao Cao and Martel duking it out in the center field. There's really not a lot of reason to be fighting here right now. I don't know that this is really the most strategic place to be, but oh my goodness, the damage from that incoming nuke is sending the Wolfpack pair running, and they really should be. The cavalry are doing work here, and I kind of wonder why they've got some siege units. It looks like that Martel army's got a mixed army, which is fine, and that might be Frederick. Is that Frederick with Martel? Either way, really doing work here. I wonder if more members of Wolfpack are going to collapse on this player here, and I wonder if they've got the T4, which is why they're being really aggressive with their posture. You can see they're attacking in again over here, and I think this is a great strategy in part because those siege units do not have a place on the battlefield other than for gathering, and I guess if you don't have more units to field, which honestly might be the case here. So you can see this Cao Cao army is doing serious work on Lancelot. If Lancelot had cavalry talents, he would be able to run away really, really quickly using charge. I'm not sure I'm in love with our friends in the North Face staying forward at this moment in time and still pressing. Honestly, this is a CPO, and I would just run away from that CPO rather than stay to fight. But you know what? We're going to look around the map a little bit because there might be more combat other places. You can see that we've started to teleport forward at this obelisk. Chuck Spears has made his way there. More people really need to do that. And a bunch of folks teleporting right side. Maybe they're going to press heavy that way. That seems like a decent strategy, and I'm a little bit shocked. We still haven't captured our Shrine of Life, and the enemy is now going to contest it. That's right. We've got the Wolfpack headed over there with multiple armies, including a CPO and a Caesar, which is a very tanky configuration. But it looks like Chuck Spears, who I think is the same player that was forward earlier that we were watching, is going to make his way into the Shrine of Life, and North Face is going to start to catch up on some of those objectives that, I would have loved to have seen them capture a bit earlier, and it looks like there is a neutral structure here that they've sort of forfeited. They've sort of forfeited this structure here, both of them. Either side could have claimed it, and now instead we've got some combat. Oh man, it's Lohar defending the structure. Lohar is not the commander you want to be using in this game mode, and I am not surprised to see Minamoto tearing down the defenses in this altar taken by the North Face. I wonder if they are now pushing forward to the other altar, and in my opinion they should be, but it looks like Wolfpack sees that is coming and is reinforcing it. We've got scouts going over here, and I'd love to see a rally on some of these objectives momentarily. That would be a really strong play. And, I'll point out here, they're still capturing the Shrine of Life, but we've got some combat. We've got some combat. The Caesar and the Scipio attacking into a Richard I, and Richard I is a really strong defensive choice, but I'm pretty sure we're talking about one army versus two here. So maybe they're doing well because they've got some T4 and the enemy does not. In fact, I'm pretty sure that siege unit we're looking at might even be T2. Yeah, wow. CPO deciding he's had enough and heading away, as is the Caesar. It looks like they live another day to hold this altar, and reinforcements are strongly on their way, both from Chuck Spears and Old Man Taka. Okay, red is securing a stronger position on the map, and this is what we would expect given that they've got a power advantage and people advantage. It's still 22-16, up a solid 6 players. There really should be no way for the blue team to hang in there, assuming there is an equal power level brought to this battle, and we've just got more players that have actually showed up for the North Face. This altar, by the way, seems to be heavily reinforced. My recommendation, if you've got a structure that's getting heavily reinforced like this, would be to simply attack some other structure. Several scouts have made their way over here. The thing I would not do, and I'm afraid they might be queuing up to do here, is to set up a bunch of individual attacks. You do not want to attack into a superior number of troops. You are just going to be doomed if you do it. And here we go. We've got Pelagius attacking into Minamoto, and Lord only knows how many troops, but it is obviously substantially more than Pelagius has brought to the battlefield, and this is just unnecessary damage that they're taking for really no value. Free trip at a speedy pace back to their city. It looks like Blue Squad is doing really an exceptional job maintaining their ground in a situation where they are clearly outnumbered. That said, I don't know what the power differential is, so I may be overstepping my observation here. And it looks like the Ark of Osiris is going to be capturable very soon. Nobody here to capitalize on that. We've got a free Ark of Osiris, 3,000 points in the center of the map, which is enough to completely sway the battle one way or the other. Neither side here to take it. There it is, Ark on the field, and a number of players all making their way over. Holy moly, everybody's paying attention to it now. Lines coming from every which direction from both teams. We're going to have a brawl in the middle, and I'm excited to see that. Is there anything else worth noting? Let's take a look at the Blue Squad's deployments around the obelisk. They've got 2 on the right side, and boom, one more teleporting in on the left side. Looks like Blue Squad might be figuring out how to teleport here, and they haven't accomplished it yet. I'm pretty happy with the position of the red units on the battlefield, and I want to call your attention to the fact that I would put all of your cities in front of the obelisk toward the enemy rather than behind it. Because that puts a much, much more aggressive defensive configuration into your ability to defend the structure. They've got to march through a bunch of your cities to get there. That is pretty bad. I suppose you could make them make the long trip all the way around and attack from behind, but even that seems good. I would definitely position in front of the objective rather than in a circle around it. Let's see what's going on at the Ark. Blue team, the first to arrive to the Ark, and they are going to snatch this thing up and make their way back to at least one of their structures, I would think. Now, why is it giving me the option to attack or scout? Okay, I'm observing. It won't let me do it. I was like, wait a minute, can I scout? I am not in the battle, by the way. I am an observer, simply a member of the Alliance. All right, so I think Lord Icewolf here has not noticed that they can move, and they need to move now. They have grabbed this structure. Here we go. They've grabbed the Ark, and now that they're moving, I think they're realizing that they're going to go 50% slower and take 200% more damage because they are carrying the Ark of Osiris. We've got one army here. It's a Aloha army, which, again, is not my favorite choice. That is going to run interference, but oh my goodness, the red lines going at that Ark of Osiris, they are going to collapse hard on that thing, and it is going to have to make it somewhere safe really soon. We're going to see if this player rocking Boudica can make it over there, and they're going to be intercepted, and I think, honestly, they should meet the battle in open field rather than take damage. It's free damage onto the Boudica if they don't turn and fight, because the Lohar is going to get their skill attacks, and the Boudica is not going to get any skill attacks or normal attacks. But oh my goodness, look at that. I don't know what tier of troop we've got in this Boudica army, but it is way, way higher than whatever is happening. Maybe it's number of troops, maybe it's tier of troops. And they're doing exactly what I thought they should do now. They're turning, battling this army, and sending them running off. And from there, yeah, they've got a free trip back to town there at double speed. Now they're going to push this objective, and I think that makes a ton of sense to do. We've got more armies from the red squad pouring in, and we could have a big open field combat. I don't see a lot of support from the blue team, but they're down a lot of players, so they've got a tough situation. And there's the support. It's not going to be enough, I feel, to stop this large cavalry march. And we're talking about a half health Scipio here to try to do this with. And Scipio is not a damage dealer. You need big, big damage to try to mitigate what is about to happen to this army. And honestly, if there was a way for them to drop the Ark, they really should just drop it at this point and turn around and fight, because they are getting basically defeated for free. Now, the mistake that I think a lot of players make in this exact situation is to try to go for the Ark. What they should do is battle each other, get the Ark later, because the second you grab that Ark, you're going to be really, really weak, and you're not going very fast anyways. So you should clear the area, secure it, make a situation that you can actually march this thing successfully, and then take it with you. And that is sort of what we see happening here. They're going to stand and fight, but let me tell you, this CPO, even though he's really low, is going to do serious work into this other army. Or not. Wow. Okay, I take it back. I take it back. There were not many troops, and I don't know what tier of troops are here, but it is high enough to hold the ground. That said, we've got another march coming toward them, and more en route. Looks like this player doesn't know that there was a lot of action on the other side of where they are. There we go. They woke up to it. Multiple armies converging, and where is Red to help them? Here we go. Red squad making their way back over to assist, but it might be too little too late. We've got a Minamoto beating on the carrier. The carrier's been scouted, so they know exactly what they're up against, and honestly, it doesn't even matter at a 200% increase to damage and 50% march speed decrease. We've got a split of attacks in the open field here, and honestly, I would have focused all of the damage in onto Draven Blade, who's actively attacking the carrier. Once again, if you could drop the Ark right now, you should really do that to fight the fight. Taking 200% extra damage is untenable. You cannot sustain it. So we've got a solid open field melee here. Nobody's got AoE damage, but my goodness, would some AoE damage be really insane. Red squad deciding where they're going to attack, continuing to slowly march this Ark back, but the Ark has been dropped, and once again, not surprising to see, because, man, you just can't sustain 200% damage in. We've now got some battling going on, and Red Squad picking up the Ark, which I think might be okay, given that the Blue Squad seems to be somewhat on the run, but they're turning now, and that is what I would expect. Free damage onto this carrier. Free damage. That's who they should be hitting. No other army right now. They should all converge on that carrier and tunnel vision, take it down, because it is free damage. Instead, we've got a little bit of a weirdness here. They're trying to protect their runner, who's all but dead anyways. I see no value in that, and the red team's smartly starting to converge on their flag. Well, some of them are, to protect it. I'm using flag because, I don't know, I'm used to playing a lot of games where you capture the flag instead of capture the Ark, but here we go. We've got Lancelot now beating on Boudica, and Boudica is one of the first armies I would be attacking in an open field skirmish because, look, she's got nothing to defend herself. She's really kind of a DPS unit. And Blue Squad is starting to rally here. They have plenty of time to gather their strength and converge on this carrier because he's going to be going really, really slow, but reinforcements are on their way from Red. And I honestly think it would be pretty reasonable for them to be farming these reserves right now while they wait for their carrier to come to them because, well, no, I don't know. Looks like one army's converging in here, but it's a Martel army. He's not doing damage. Charles Martel's not about doing damage. So they're slowly marching this thing back, and let's get a look at the rest of the map. There's been some small amount of action over here, pushing forward onto the Sky Altar, using their numbers advantage to capture that, which I think is very wise, and we've got some convergence on the Shrine of War. It looks like we might see a swarm attack into the shrine, which I think would not be particularly wise as an attack mechanism, but if they've scouted it, and there's not a lot in it, sometimes speed is of the essence, and they might be able to capture it while the Blue Squad seems to be distracted with the Ark. If I were these armies, I would be defending this structure. We've got El Cid on defense here. Probably not the first, second, or third commander I would be choosing to do that. And the swarm is real. By swarming this enemy, they're dropping their health down really quickly, and they're going to take this structure while the rest of the blue team is distracted chasing the Ark of Osiris. They swapped Boudica to be the captain of the garrison, but too little, too late. Red squad has captured it successfully, and it looks like there is a runner here. Looks like there's a runner here that they are going to hunt down if they can catch it. I'm not sure that Richard I can catch the El Cid. It might happen, it might not. Let's go find other action on the battlefield. The Ark of Osiris still being marched slowly by red, looking like at this point it is secure to bring back to the nearest structure, which is going to be the outpost of Seth. That's where I would take it. Alternatively, they could go to the Shrine of War. Both of those would be fine locations, and let me tell you, capturing this Shrine of War is a big deal. The Shrine of War is offering a 5% troop attack and 5% troop defense. I mean, look, I'll take every little bit of edge I can get, and attack and defense is on plan. Now, the red team is going to have to defend this a little bit. We've got Boudica and a small amount of troops. I see some tier 1 in there. Tier 1 and tier 2 coming with a Minamoto to attack the Shrine of War. Now, you could attack these armies outside of the Shrine of War. What the Red Squad should do is send every single one of their troops into the Shrine of War. It is a true tragedy to be battling outside of it. You may as well get the huge benefit of being in a superior army size, right? So instead of attacking as individuals, they could have 700 plus thousand troops defending this Shrine of War, which I think would be pretty darn strong. So we've got this battle unfolding right now, and it's going about the way I would have expected. Kind of shocked to see Timo defending this. I can't see the total number of reinforcements that are in there right now, but those armies are cleaned up, given a speedy retreat back to their city, and the Ark is slowly being marched toward an objective. Now, when we look at the score, it's actually still a relatively even score. I'll say this, we've got some open field fighting here, and I don't know how much sense this makes. I don't think blue team is actually going to successfully hold the Ark area, and even if they did right now, it doesn't matter because after the Ark is captured, it's going to be like a 5-minute respawn window for the Ark of Osiris to be capturable here. So there's really no reason to be fighting in this area right now. I would instead be focused on some strategic objectives. Now, actually, it looks like I can see the total number of troops contained within each of these structures if I zoom out. Looks like we've got 128,000 in the Shrine of War and literal 0 in this other Shrine of War. But you know what? There's no enemies headed toward it, so why defend it? Why defend it? To that end, we got a lot of sort of wasted troops sitting here in this sky altar. They could go other places. Another person has teleported forward at the obelisk, and I would expect that opportunistically, people should be teleporting forward. We're at a solid 24 people to 16. We can see that near the top. I notice now I don't even have to tap into the scoreboard to accomplish that. And, you know, the blue squad is doing very nobly considering their huge disadvantage in number of players that have attended this battle. Red Squad is starting to press their edge, capturing more and more territory. And, you know, I think over time they're going to see a huge increase to their score. Although the score looks even now, it will not be for long because when this is brought to a structure, and I'm not sure what structure they think they're going to take it to, we've got a Lancelot chasing down this squad, but I just don't know how effective that's going to be. Red team coming in to defend their carrier very, very effectively here. And there you have it. Really, I think when your army gets to half health and you've got cavalry, you should be trying to retreat back to safety to prevent all the severely wounded troops that you're ultimately going to get. The name of the game here is efficiency, and there's really not a lot of value in that attack, at least the way that I saw it unfold. We've got a small number of siege units chasing after the Ark of Osiris. Not a lot that those can do. They're going to get cut off at the pass by even more siege units, which I find to be pretty hilarious. And this army is going to be shrunk down to size, given a free trip back to their city really, really quickly. We see now some aggression outside of the Shrine of War, and were I in their shoes, Yeah, they are doing it. They are scouting the obelisk to see, can we rally it. More blue players teleporting forward, which makes a lot of sense. And they've got 4 over here. I would love to see more of their players teleported into strategic positions. In fairness, they are really looking very outnumbered here. Red squad, more teleporting forward happening. And overall, this battle is in a pretty solid place. I don't know where this arc is going, but I'll say this: if you've got a lead in the Ark of Osiris, there's really no reason to capture the arc. If you think you have a lead, you can hold that lead, and there's no way you could lose. Or let me take that back. If you have a lead, oh, did they just get a new structure? I don't know if they got a new structure just now. I don't think so. Okay, anyways, if you have a lead in Ark of Osiris and it's a really contentious battle, one thing you could do to prevent the enemy from getting the flag or the arc is to simply hold on to it. Hold on to it and it can't respawn, and that's a tactic you can use that is very powerful to only turn it in when you're ready to then march your troops over and occupy the not Lost Temple, but the Ark of Osiris center area and control it so that you can get the arc when it spawns again 5 or 10 minutes later. So they're marching back. We still have a lot of people that are hanging back. And oh my goodness, they walked into the obelisk and took it. I can't believe I didn't see that go down. They are capturing the obelisk, and we know that there's only a small number of troops there. There's 5 cities here that really should converge and attack on this obelisk before it can be reinforced by red players. Because the second that happens, this is going to get really dicey and become really hard to take back. This is one of the few situations where I think a swarm attack is better than a rally. Very, very quickly, you need to capture this objective before they can start camping large volumes of troops. And it looks like, is this player going to attack the city? No, they're just parking their troops. They may not have noticed, they really need to get into this obelisk and reinforce it very, very soon. There are a lot of folks battling at the Shrine of War still. Not sure why. Everyone who's here really should make their way over to the obelisk. They need to hold this, and after they've held it for only another 2 minutes, they should be thinking about teleporting their troops up to this obelisk and rallying these player cities. I would rapidly scout every single one of those after I teleported forward, and it's either rally time or swarm time. Because look, they may have so many injured troops that they can't actually defend it. We see the blue squad starting to send out some scouts, seeing what is happening. The scout distance here is so short, they should be scouting everybody who comes near. And we've got some open field combat. I think this is... What do I think about this? I think this is sort of smart and sort of not. I think it's sort of not because this is a CPO and you really shouldn't be hitting him. I really think they should be hitting the obelisk. And as it turns out, the same number of troops that are here in the open field are in the obelisk. So instead, if they were attacking the obelisk, they might be able to occupy it at the end of this fight. Instead, they're just beating back one red army, which is fine, but doesn't get them the objective, and they really need that objective. And you can see here, this is exactly what a CPO army wants. Once they get below 40% health, they're going to start healing, and you can see a lot of that healing happening. That healing and also extra damage boost is based on I think it's a 10% chance every time they're attacked. And so getting attacked by a lot of armies is exactly what CPO wants. And look how much damage that CPO did to all these other armies. Now we have the exact situation I was afraid of unfolding. CPO couldn't have harmed those 3 blue armies a whole heck of a lot as an individual. And instead of defeating the army that was here and potentially holding this structure, the red squad has had enough time to reinforce it, right? So now they're going to attack as an individual, and it's too late. It's too late. We've now got 274,000 in this structure. There's no value to be obtained in this attack, and they need to rally it. It should be a 1-minute rally. Instead, and now we know where all their troops were, it looks like they might have done a 5 or 10-minute rally. Is that even an option, 10-minute rally? Must be. They did a long rally to the Shrine of War. We're going to have a big battle over here, which I'm really excited about. 280,000 troops in the Shrine of War. This looks like a large number. I don't know how many are here, but I think they are going to get their Shrine of War back, but not at a cost that I find acceptable. Although here we go with a blue swarm attack in on the obelisk. They're going to take a lot of damage doing this. Going to have a lot of severely injured troops. Not my first choice, but getting that obelisk back is absolutely crucial before red team starts to teleport in to defend it. Now, what I don't understand is they've got some red heading over there. I guess that makes some sense. I would love to see these armies get into this obelisk or this Shrine of War as fast as possible. They need to defend this structure because it is going to get captured by this rally for sure. Instead, we've got folks running away, which is not the choice I would make. Okay, good. They're headed back in. Oh my goodness. What is this battle going to be? They are so outnumbered. We've got another army coming in. Big damage coming here. It looks like we've got Herman supported by, I think it was Minamoto. We've got Boudica on defense here, and reinforcements coming, but maybe too little too late. It looks like the rally's also getting reinforced. Oh my goodness, it looked like superior numbers from the wolf pack, but it might not have been. We've got a relatively even fight here, and hopefully this blue army goes and reinforces their rally rather than the open field. That would be the best play. I think our friends in the wolf pack are going to potentially capture this objective. Wolf pack going to attack with two armies now, the rally and the solo attack. Not my first choice. They really need to get this damage in before the reinforcements arrive, and they have arrived to the Shrine of War, extending this battle. One more army coming in to the Shrine of War. I think they're going to be able to hold it if that army arrives, and it will. These guys really should have reinforced the rally instead of attacking solo. Rally reinforcement or structure reinforcement is there, and now exactly the thing I was afraid of is happening. The Wolfpack army is not big enough to defeat this structure with all of the reinforcements that it has received. This is going to be a tight battle, especially after this additional army arrives to defend. At the same time that is happening, okay, no action over here, but the red squad is teleported forward. Aggressive maneuver, and I think very, very smart. There's no way they can get that obelisk now, and this structure is going to be successfully defended with even more reinforcements arriving, the Ark captured, and now we are entering landslide mode for our friends in the red squad. You see these guys get a speedy trip back to town. They've been defeated, full reinforcements arriving, and this has gone really sideways. This has gone really sideways. We're looking at 24 versus 17. One more person has arrived for the... Oh man, are they leaving? Not what I expected. Blue squad teleporting away from this structure, and red now starting to do exactly what I would have expected, scouting all the nearby structures. 1 minute rallies should be happening now. 1 minute rallies on each of these cities to push them out and back to the starting zone. A lot of aggression. Any aggression on this side of the map? We've got some. Blue is holding this side very successfully, and that is because it looks like a lot of the push is focused on the other side, although we've got one person running around here to cause some mayhem. They are definitely going to go for this gatherer. I might be too little too late. It looks like they'll have gathered a lot of the value already. Heading back over to where I think the action is going to be. We've got some swarm attacks going in on blue player cities now. This is really savage. Frederick is the defender of this city, and unfortunately, Frederick is not a commander that is effective in that role. The city is getting hit really hard, and I expect it's going to be burning and teleported back in no time. From here, we're going to see some swarm attacks probably on all of their cities, and they are going to be causing maximum damage. Another teleport out. This objective is being surrendered, and at this point, I think this battle is over. 22 minutes remaining, but I don't see a way for the blue squad to come back from these odds that they're up against, and from this score. It looks like they did launch a rally to the obelisk. That rally is going in, and this city has a proper defender at the helm in Charles Martel. Now, let's see if this rally was actually big enough to do work on the obelisk. We've got a solid, 800,000, and this does not look like a large rally. Yeah, this is not going well. This is not going well. I wonder why that rally took so long. I think they're doing 5-minute rallies instead of 1-minute rallies, and they have canceled their rally against the target here to return their troops back home because that was not going to go well. And it looks like this city is having some amount of successful defense. I haven't been able to watch it very closely. Either way, they just don't have enough troops to sustain this swarm attack, and they are teleporting out. Red Squad is owning this area and now capturing yet another objective here with the Blue Squad pushing back against it. But there's a solid 500,000 defending. A swarm attack is not going to cut it. A swarm attack is not going to cut it, and they are going to capture that objective. Now we've got our Ark of Osiris spawning in 5 minutes. There's time to bring that back to a player city maybe one more time. And given the position of the red squad on this map, now containing all 3 of the blue squad's outposts, I am pretty comfortable saying that this match is over. A little bit of combat going on here. It looks like if they push, they might be able to take this objective back, but to what end? A lot of red converging in on them. We've got another army coming in to support it, and we've crashed. We've crashed. We're loading back in to see what we get. All right, let's fire back into watching. We've got some combat at this outpost. They are going to take it back and hold it for maybe 3 seconds here. But they've got to defend it for a full 3 minutes before they actually can claim it. Hey, more armies on their way, and they've claimed this one back. Blue Squad making a little bit of a comeback, although I don't think they can make it to a W. They can't get the win. We've got the red team moving in, heading over to the scoreboard. Wolfpack Forever versus Lords of Northface. They're going to have to hold this objective for a little bit, and it looks like they can for those crucial reinforcements to arrive. And now I don't think the red team can take this. Oh, see, now this was a mistake. This was a mistake, I think. They jumped out of the structure, and I don't know why. They jumped out of the structure to attack separately, and now the red squad can have way more troops contained within the structure and defend very, very easily, very, very elegantly. Now they're going to have to swarm multiple armies. Oh, now this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. They've completely vacated the structure and blue walked into it, which makes a ton of sense. That is exactly what I would do. We've got a little bit of an open field duel here with the Cao Cao going into a Boudica. And I am not sure. Oh, looks like Cao Cao's going to pull it out. We also have combat down below. Cao Cao attacking the Sun Tzu army. And it looks like this army is going to arrive in time to reinforce this structure and give them a successful defense, I believe. Although, look at all those red lines. We've got more attackers en route. And their red squad, North Face, is still pushing in, trying to take the structure. I don't know how successful they're going to be, especially look at this tiny army. This tiny army is going to get killed for free on the part of the blue squad from the AoE of Sun Tzu. That's exactly what happened, and they get a speedy trip back to town. This duel was kind of interesting to watch, but I think horribly misplaced. If I were this blue player, I would have gotten into this city and made it nearly impossible for them to attack into it by virtue of having superior numbers in a single army rather than a swarm. And Sun Tzu is a perfect commander to defend against that swarm. But now they are completely outnumbered. One way, by the way, you can totally mitigate Sun Tzu's AoE is to simply attack from different sides of that structure. And you could see where that AoE is targeted. You could completely avert that damage. And there you go. They're going to take that structure momentarily, sending the blue team with a speedy trip back to their cities. Now, the blue team still holds this obelisk, and man, with that configuration of armies, it's pretty scary to march into this area, as this player has just done. With more blue teleporting in, I would convert, oh my goodness, for free. No defense on the obelisk. Red team walks in and says, "Hi, thanks for inviting me in. Thanks for inviting me in. I think I'll stay a while." So now the question becomes, can the friends from North Face reinforce this structure fast enough to prevent either a rally or a swarm from taking it back? And I would honestly swarm it to try to take it back. That said, I think our friends in blue, the Wolf Pack, are overextended and outnumbered at this point. The North Face is going to grab the Ark, and you can see here the 50% march speed reduction and the 200% damage taken. Pretty savage. Pretty savage. If the Ark is escorted to a caravan, it will drop on the map next to the caravan and no points are awarded. So there's how you could drop the Ark of Osiris if you go to a caravan. So if you needed to fight and you happen to be near the caravan, go to the caravan, drop the Ark, fight, pick it up later. Pick it up later. Let's see what's going on up at the top of the battlefield here. And if they were able to swarm this obelisk, they really should do that already. There's just a single army. I'd expect all of these players to instead have converged onto this obelisk. I don't know where they're going. But with 15 minutes left in the battle, it is all but done. The fat lady is singing. This fight is over. And oh, now I see what's happening. There was a big push onto the desert altar, and I don't think it's going to be successful. There's a rally here, but the rally's almost gone. There's some individual armies. They really should have reinforced the rally, assuming that they weren't already in it. And CPO is looking mighty strong for a swarm defense in this configuration. And that is, I say swarm defense. Defense against a swarm attack, because they're reducing the damage they take and they're increasing their counterattack. So the more armies that are attacking them, the worse off that each of them is. Mistakes are being made. There's also some amount of open field fighting going on, which doesn't make any sense at all. These guys really need to get into the structure to defend it. Instead, they're doing this open field fighting, and it looks like, even though this should not have happened, the Wolfpack is steps away from taking back the desert altar, which is worth points but not particularly strategic as an objective. In fact, they have done it. They've claimed it and sent our friends at the North Face with a fast trip back to town. This player in red, now realizing their mistake, too little, too late, they're going to attack into this structure and have losses that are probably not particularly acceptable, because now there's a lot of troops here, and they cannot deal with that. They are not equipped, and they're getting punished for it. Yep, they realize their mistake, or not. They realized their mistake, but the Joan of Arc said, "Wait for me. I need a free trip back to town. I don't feel like walking." All right, so they're going to ghost their way back to town, and we've got a swarm that failed into this structure. How many players are here? It's not entirely clear to me. I see Boudica is defending the structure, one army. I don't know where these guys are going, but they really needed to swarm into this obelisk sooner, because this is exactly the thing you don't want to see. The enemy is teleporting into your turf, and they're going to have a really easy time defending the structure now, being able to reinforce it. Now, I personally would prefer to see this player inside of the obelisk rather than attacking solo, but it's entirely possible that their commanders are so much better, that that their tier of troops is so good that they figure they're better off solo attacking. That could be the case. Too little, too late. We're seeing a blue force starting to mass, and if I were here, man, I'm not sure what I would be doing. You could pick off the individual armies, but oh no, if they don't get into that structure, blue is going to claim it. They need to get into that structure right now, and bada boom, they've claimed it back. And even though they were in a sort of position of strength better than any of the individual armies, they're not going to be able to withstand all of the armies from the Blue Alliance. Whew. The Ark of Osiris has successfully arrived back into the hands of a red structure, and they get 3,000 more points, I believe, pulling the lead even further ahead. We've got a rally coming from blue onto this obelisk, I think. And by the way, if you need to cancel a rally, you'll see some flags in the bottom left. That indicates where your rally is. That is how you would cancel it. Yep, the rally is broken, and instead they've reinforced the structure. But now we should see some intense city-on-city combat. But holy moly, huge reinforcements coming over from those from the north face, now burning cities and swarm attacking them, and that's what they should do. Burn them to the ground. You've got the numbers, you've got the score on the board, get a lot of points, and yep, blue is teleporting away to avert getting all those severely wounded troops. Of course, the other approach would be to reinforce another player's city or the obelisk. There's nothing you're going to lose if they hit your city, so what if it burns a little bit? And so what if it teleports back? Your troops are going to be somewhere important. We've got another swarm attack going in to Charles Martel, and that is not a player you want to be swarming against. Level 21 City Hall here. And it looks like we've got a proper garrison commander at the helm. Oh my goodness, Red Squad taking heavy damage attacking into this city, and really they should have chosen a weaker target. One army getting a free trip back to town, and I think more armies are going to get that speedy walk back to their home city, but not before. It looks like they are going to do some burning onto Underlandian's level 21 City Hall. Woo! Another army, free trip back to town. Looks like Lohar might be sent packing, and Charles Martel could have a lot of counterattack if he's got that skill powered up. So there we go. Lohar going to get a free trip back home, and they defeated the army, but when you defeat a city, you can still attack it again afterwards because all of the slightly wounded units now are healed again at the conclusion of that battle. So they got to burn this thing several times in order to actually take out all the troops and make them severely wounded. And I do not love attacking into proper garrison commanders. Good for you. Good for you for having proper garrison commanders. What we really should see from this blue player and other blue players nearby, if they had known that we had a proper garrison commander here, is to reinforce this city. And they're teleporting away. They've had enough. I don't know that I agree with that play. I really wish others had gone and reinforced them. Instead, this blue army is left stranded, and oh my goodness, are they stranded. They're going to get completely surrounded. Now, it is a CPO, but here's the thing. While you do want to be the person who's being attacked if you rock the CPO on the battlefield, you don't want to be attacked like this for not a lot of value. Not a lot of value to be had here. Yeah. And they get a free trip back to their nearby city. Interestingly, we've got a Clio defending this one city here, and I'm not sure why. It looks like they even sent out their army, which I think is a mistake. They've now weakened their city pretty profoundly. Yep, nothing to protect the city here. And we've got a city up top burning. We've got an army down below that is horribly surrounded. As the red team kind of continues to control the map and dominate the objectives. Oh boy. I think the blue squad fought very, very, very well considering how severely outnumbered and outpowered they were based on the number of players that they had show up. And if I were in their ranks, I'd be taking a look at how we better organize to make sure we can actually identify who can attend the Alliance Battleground. The obelisk now getting swarm attacked. I don't know what kind of numbers they have there, but Minamoto is probably not my first choice for a defense. In fact, you really are wishing you had some Sun Tzu AoE action going on right now. This is the dream for Sun Tzu. We've got some blue players battling outside of the structure, and they really need to be in the structure instead. Cities are burning, and this obelisk will go down, but at a heavy cost. You can see how much damage all of the armies surrounding this obelisk have taken. one player getting a free trip back to town, and it may be more still that get trips back home at a speedy pace. Yep, that blue army that should have been in the obelisk now getting a free trip. And there you have it. Red is taking this obelisk. You know, tough situation. Blue did a good job getting this structure, but it ends up being super irrelevant if you get routed from the other side taking your obelisks. Crucial. Let's see if we get a free capture of this structure or if North Face is left behind some defense. And it looks like North Face has left behind some defense. So they're not going to be able to just walk in. And they've got now a sort of swarm attack going in to the obelisk. Were these armies already in the structure before? Is that why they're now being sent? Or is this too little too late? They're swarm attacking into a Richard I, although they are very smartly avoiding the AoE from Richard I and are attacking at a side that doesn't make them hit by the attack damage reduction that Richard I does so darn effectively. That said, it looks like the numbers here are so powerful from the North Face that they cannot beat in to Richard I. He is holding his ground, and he's going to defeat these armies one at a time. I don't love this choice by this player to fight in the open field instead of going into the structure. When you've got armies swarming a structure, it's just free kills if you can stack the structure full of troops. So now we've got some open field combat from Meliborn and also the real Basta. And, those powerful, overwhelming numbers from the red squad really making the difference here. This is kind of interesting combat to watch, but oh my goodness, Red Squad collapsing on the obelisk, cleaning up these individual armies. And look, once again, we've got a situation where multiple armies are attacking into a CPO. This is what CPO is built for. Honestly, I don't know what the secondary is in this configuration, but if it is like an Ulji Mundok, bring full infantry, and oh my goodness, would that be a sweet, sweet pairing. Instead, man, this area just getting cleaned up. Most of the blue squad has been forced back to the starting area and also the small number of cities we have over here. 17 players to 24. Tough situation to be in. Fought very, very well by both sides. Kudos to the Wolf Pack for fighting in such overwhelming odds. Kudos to the North Face for inviting me on to watch the show, to comment on what's happening. I think we can wrap it up in about 4 minutes. The battle will be over. And you know what? We'll take a look at the scoreboard and show some of the details of kind of what went down here. You can see who the top players were in this battleground. I wish it would show what alliance. Oh, these are all from our alliance. These are all from North Face, Lords of the North Face. Very good. More folks teleporting in on behalf of the Red Squad. And man, not a lot to be done here. There's an interesting open field combat off to the side here. I don't know how this Lancelot got here. He's from this city, but he is caught completely out of position here. He's got a nice size march, but he doesn't have all cavalry, which means he's not going to be able to really take advantage of all the cavalry goodness that you're getting from Lancelot. So this is going to be tough, and they're just going to get burned down. And if you find yourself in this situation, you need to turn around and fight, because right now they're not getting any normal attacks, they're not getting any skill attacks, and yeah, they're just getting, for the enemy is getting free damage in on you in a way that's super, super painful. And there you go, they're sent back to town. The only way I can see to have gotten around that is if they had the talent to charge, and they brought all cavalry. They would have got a 30% movement speed boost when they got below 50%, and I think that is absolutely a must for this style of game mode. So 2 minutes and 20 seconds until we get a look at the final scoreboard, the final placements, and this was a lot of fun to watch. I hope you've enjoyed as well. Let me know down below. Do you like when I comment on this? Do you like all the feedback I gave? I'm basically kind of casting the event, if you will. And let me know how my casting is. How'd I do? How'd I do? We got a bunch of red armies chasing after this guy, and there's no reason why not to. I don't know if there's any troops defending this, so they might get it for free, which I find kind of hilarious. Run, CPO, run! You can get there! Now, I don't think you get any points for simply walking into the structure, and there's not enough time left to actually convert a structure over, because it takes 3 minutes. But, pardon me, but, they do have troops defending it. Man, it looked like it was free. It looked like it was free. Oh, but it's a small number of troops. They're going to get a free trip home. Free speedy trip back to the home city. And they have captured. Wolfpack Forever has captured the Shrine of Life. And they're going to have to swarm attack into a CPO here, which is not the best, to try to take it back. CPO is not the worst choice to have on your wall to defend against this situation. And I don't know where this guy's going. You may as well swarm this thing and get some points for attacking, because this battle's about to end. Accumulate your individual points. There's nowhere else you can go. Oh, and they left the structure. I don't think they should have left the structure. They as well needed to get those individual contribution points. So, well, you know. As the battle is winding down, you should have every one of your troops in combat. Try to get as many kills as you can so you get some points. Instead, they're just running around. Oh, man. More people porting forward on the red squad. That's what you should be doing. The city over here is burning. Oh, man. And with 3 seconds left, my friends, good game to you all. So, thank you again to the Lords of Northface for inviting me in to spectate this battle. If you want me to spectate your battle, send me a message. Happy to chat about that. And, you know, I've got a Discord. Link will be in the description. You're welcome to come on in. That's a good place to reach me. If we look here at the total number of teleports used, 32 from the Lords of Northface, 18 from Wolfpack Forever. To me, that seems like a pretty big differentiator. 2 captures on the Ark from North Face. And neither side really aggressively went after the provisions, but certainly more provisions collected by the North Face. That's gathered from those camels, by the way. So we're going to quit out of the fight, and if we go back to the War tab, nothing else to see. There you have it, my friends. Once again, thank you again for having me to spectate your Ark of Osiris battle. If you found it helpful, like and subscribe. And until next time, my friends, you have fun smashing the kingdom.